Here we go. Hello, everybody. I'm Fred Bonanno, coming to you from the Comfortably Numb Studios in Chicago, Illinois. I'm a writer for the online website magazine, Metal Temple, dedicated to hard rock and heavy metal since the year 2000. I do album reviews and interviews. You can check us out at www.metal-temple.com. And today we are joined from his home in California by Dean Roberts, the original and current drummer from one of the most underrated metal bands of the 80s, known as the Triple Axe Attack Leatherwolf, who have regrouped with a new lineup and released Kill the Hunted on Rock of Angels Records. So it is my pleasure and privilege to have you on this interview today, Dean. First things first, how are you doing?
I'm good, and the Rock of Ages is just a distributor part for Europe, and it's my label in the United States, and we got a label in Japan and a label in South America. So we got a bunch of contributors pushing the product, pushing this record.
Oh, great. Yeah, I listened to it, and it's awesome. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Just wanted to start out with a quick bio on how you got into music and what led to the birth of Leatherwolf.
My uncle used to play drums, so when I was in high school, I swam and played water polo. But I also was in the marching band and the orchestra, and I made it into the jazz band. And my class was right across the way from a guitar class that Carrie was playing in. So we just hooked up and started playing and started a band, and then we played a party, and we ran into Jeff Gayer and Jerome Severin. And so that was probably where it began, as we started playing with Jeff and Jerome and me and Carrie. And then a little bit down the road, Jeff got Mike, because they went to high school together, and we started playing with him. And then eventually he could sing, so he became the singer, So we had 3 guitar players and a singer. And so we just started playing parties and having fun. And then in '83 we got a record deal. And then I think after that we started playing Hollywood, and then we got a major record label deal with Island Records, and that's when we did those 2 Island records, and I think it was '86 to '89, and that's basically how it started, playing backyard parties as kids.
That's probably how a lot of them started. I know that.
Yeah, we were like 20, 21 years old.
Yeah, and I know Leatherwolf released 3. They were pretty successful albums between '85 and '89: Endangered Species, Leatherwolf, and Street Ready. And I'm sure I had those in my collection. I had a shitload of records, and I'm sure I had Leatherwolf in there because I was a big fan of Leatherwolf. That time period too was a huge for metal. What was it like being part of that scene back in the '80s when metal was really huge?
There was a lot of good bands around, and it was kind of fun. It was a little frustrating, with the label that we were on, and the way that we were getting recorded, and just the way they were promoting it. But hey, we were glad to at least be in the game, But it was really cool back then how many bands were having success, in the '80s and '90s.
That had to be cutthroat back then too, right? Because everyone's trying to get the gig, and all the major clubs back then.
Well, that's kind of weird, because we just used to go promote our shows, and we would sell a lot of tickets, so it just kind of worked. You just but it wasn't. I don't know. I think everyone did the same thing, and some people were just a little more popular than others.
Right. As I mentioned earlier, myself and I know a lot of fans, and I actually saw an article not too long ago when I was doing a little research on Leatherwolf, that there was a poll that came out that Leatherwolf was considered one of the most underrated bands from the '80s, and I would totally agree with that. Do you think that the first 3 albums that we mentioned earlier got the attention they deserved back in the days, or did you think they were just, I don't want to say ignored, but you didn't get the true credit you deserved?
It would have been nice if other stuff happened, but it didn't. So I'm not gonna get irritated at other people or wish this or wish that. It did what it was supposed to do, and that's just the way it is. If I had it all over to do again, I just think I would have stuck more in the heavy metal realm of mixing, and just tried to stay a little bit more heavier the more reverby and prettier and sounds just get a little more, just some more like Judas was doing, or
Right.
Deep Purple was doing, or those guys that just had sounded mean and ballsy. I probably would have done something in that department if I could.
Sure,
When you
understood.
go record, that's the only thing you really actually have any full control over is how you record your stuff and how it's going to sound.
Right, sure, understood. And like I said, I'm sure I had all three albums in my collection. I would,
And when it comes to underrated, dude, there's so many good guys out there. There's so many killer guitar players and drummers and bass players that that are still out there that you never even know. You never get to meet. The unknown Al Di Meolas or the unknown Neil Pearts, or all those guys that are just phenomenal. That just never really get into the arena of to have a hit song and get some clarity on just how good they are.
oh, sure.
Like, I never knew about Barry Sparks as a bass player, but him and Rob Math played together, and once I started listening to how he plays, you just realize that there's some guys out there that are just a whole different level of musical talent. It's just
Oh,
a whole
sure.
different freaking level.
Yeah, I totally believe that. Yeah, absolutely. So, of those three albums, I would say if I had to pick one, I would say Street Ready was probably my favorite of the three. Do you have a particular favorite of those first three albums?
Mine, song wise, would probably be the first album. With Spider, Endangered Species, Season of the Witch,
Yeah.
The Hook,
Yeah.
Kill and Kill Again. I like that record a lot.
Okay.
I like the way it was mixed. We started off, sounding heavy.
Yeah.
Now the songwriting on the next two records, I think is pretty phenomenal. I think Jeff's writing is pretty cool. How he writes stuff and how he does things.
And was it a contribution? Did everybody contribute to the writing?
Everyone always got their 10 cents in it, but it just depends on what song. Like Hideaway was a song that was written on this. I think it was the second record, and or the second on the record, and that was after we were done recording. Paul Carmen came up with an idea, and Carrie and Mikey were up in a room, and so they just went and recorded that melody, and then all of a sudden I had to reset up my drums and record the song. So Hideaway, but like Wicked Ways and Spirits in the Wind, those were mainly Jeff things, and there's other stuff, because I wasn't there when those Carrie, Jeff, and Mike would do stuff, so I can't be fully clear on what actually went down, but I do know I can just tell just about the songs themselves who actually participated in the part. The majority of Street Ready was basically Jeff doing the guitars and a lot of the vocals. I think he wrote like 6 or 7 songs vocally on that record.
Okay. Yeah, I just always wondered what it's like being in a band where, for instance, yourself, if they go, let's do this song, and you just go, I don't like it. This isn't Leatherwolf, but you just go with it, or do you stand up and say,
Well, back then it was, it is Leatherwolf. We were all Leatherwolf, so everyone's opinion mattered. Even if I didn't like it or I didn't agree, there's going to be things that I like that they don't like. So you just gotta meet in the middle and do it. And most of the Leatherwolf stuff was it's not just something you sit down and you figure out and go play. You got to actually spend some time, because it's kind of got intricate patterns, and you got changes, and you want to play with the guitars that are doing some pretty cool and off the wall stuff, not some simple stuff like Hideaway or The Calling, where it's just basically 1 and 1, 2, down, bow, 1, 2. There's there's tricky stuff. So you have to figure out your part you want to play, then you got to figure out your transitions, and then you got to figure out if do I want to overplay it or underplay?
did the labels ever throw in their 2 cents, or did they just say, get us the album so we can get it pressed and released?
No, I don't think that really starts happening until after you have success. because everyone's just trying to get a product to sell so they can make some money. And once you get to a certain point, then people want to start to participate in the product, you know. But when you're in the beginning, I think they're just recording you to see if it sticks. You know, we put it out to everyone, you know.
Sure.
So no one really said anything to us about anything.
Makes sense. All right, hopefully I got my facts right now coming up here. That I got Leatherwolf disbanded around 1993. After a bit of a hiatus, they regrouped and released New World Asylum in 2006. Disbanded once more, and now regrouped with the latest album, Kill the Hunted, released late last year. So I guess let's just talk about how this album came about. How did Kill the Hunted come to fruition?
Okay, so first we broke up in '89, and Carrie, Jeff, and Mike went and do something else. In '99, we got together for a show, and we played, and then we just played a couple shows in the '90s, late '90s, in 2000, and then we decided to make the World Asylum record, but no one was really interested in doing it except for me and Jeff, or Jeff and I. So we finished that record, and then we made a live record, and then things kind of went south with us, with me and Mike and Carrie. And so when it came back around to make this record, we were going to try to make it with the original guys, but there was just too much conflict and too much stuff going on, so it just didn't pan out, you know. So after I finished the drums and the bass, I had during that time I found a singer, Keith Adamiak, and he was it was kind of cool because there was no drama, and we kind of thought the same, and it was just kind of nice to someone write vocals that that you just, you know, you were proud of, you know, just tell stories that you kind of could support.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we ran into Barry at the beginning, and it was just, so it was basically me, Rob, Barry, and Keith doing the record, you know. And then towards the end, Luke came around, and so did Wayne Finley, who's a Michael Schenker guy. And so he had a couple ideas and helped, and he's a real good, nice guy and a real good player, you know. And you know, it has the original Leatherwolf vibe because Jeff wrote a lot of the riffs, a lot of the songs, you know, and we just finished them and put them together. So I think that's why it has more of an old school first album Leatherwolf vibe to it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that leads into my next question: is your new lead singer Keith Adamiak really isn't too well known, I guess, but nonetheless, he sure proved to have a great set of pipes. Where did you recruit Keith from?
When I started this project, you know, I had to get shoulder surgery because I played water polo and I freaking tore my rotator cuff. So I had to learn how to program parts. And so I knew this guy named Jake, and he came over, and then right in the midst of that, I decided that it's just things weren't working between me and Mike. And so I decided to see what else was out there, to see who could, you know, do what, you know. So he knew two guys. So that night, I talked to him. We went online, sent Keith an email, and then he came over the next night. And it's too funny because me and Robbie the night before, we were rearranging and writing the parts for Only the Wicked, because there was a previous version with Mike, and we thought it was okay. It wasn't like, you know, home run. So me and Robbie got into it, and I arranged it, and Robbie came up with a different verse, a melody for the verse, and then Robbie started humming some melodies for the vocals, and it turns out that I remembered I had something, because you know, so every once in a while I'll just start writing some stories, you know. And then once he's humming that melody, I thought of that theme, you know. I couldn't sleep last night, 1,000 things running through my mind. And so it just worked. And so Keith came over after me and Robbie were up till like 2 a.m. trying to, because it was all spontaneous, it was all spontaneous. And so he's sitting there singing really low because my wife had to work. And so we didn't want to wake her up, And so the next day, Keith comes over and he sings it, and we're just going, that's killer. This guy, is killer. So we just started introducing him to other songs, and I wrote some words from some other songs, and he just wrote better words, So I thought, that's cool. That's the thing about writing, is sometimes you write something super cool, and then sometimes you write something that just sucks.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you try, it's just the luck of the draw.
I dipped around with writing songs for the last years, and poems too. I kind of intertwine them. And there's sometimes where you sit there and go, boy, that's really good. And then you look at it the next day and go, that sucks. You're right.
Yeah.
I guess you're your own worst critic, but it's always tough to decide what's good and what's not, I guess.
Well, that's the thing I've accepted, is sometimes you're going to hit a home run and sometimes you're just not. It's how it works. You're as much as good as you do is usually as much as bad as you're going to create, but as much as bad as you do is you're going to usually create just as much good,
Oh yeah. I tried stand-up comedy a few years ago, and you'd write something and you'd go, that's really funny. Then you get up there and you do it, and crickets,
Yeah.
I go, hello, is this thing on? Hello. Like, I thought it was funny. So it's really hard to tell what's going to make it and what's not. But imagine it's super tough in songwriting.
Well, at the end of the day, you just got to be proud of what you did. I mean, that's my thing, is it's not so much about how much success you get. It's, are you proud of what you did? Can you identify and can you support what you did? So that was my thing.
As a songwriter, this is a question I always ask the songwriters. If I told you, Dean, we need a song, could you sit down and write it? Or do you just have to have it come to you and you piecemeal it together?
Well, like when I did Kill the Hunted, I had a guitar and I was sitting in a garage. You just start coming up with ideas on spot, not because someone told you, just by yourself. Then you just start piecing it together. And then you start thinking about the melodies for the verses and the chorus, and then you start coming up with a story.
Yeah.
And usually the song is written more by the community than the individual, because the person that's writing the story is involved with people, and usually the story somehow relates to that involvement. That's what I discovered.
Yeah.
So I was going through some stuff with some people, and I started realizing I was writing about it. So that whole conflict with other people really kind of sort of tells a story of its own.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally get that, because when I've tried to write, I don't know, do I need a theme for this story? Can I just have some fun with it? I guess it depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, I usually write words and stories like when there's things that are trying to change in my life, or something's going on where I realize I got to do something different.
Yeah,
so that's where the whole story came from. Only the Wicked and Kill the Hunted. It was I realized that I need to do something different. I need to freaking wake up and do something different.
Yeah, and that was my next question was going to be about who's composing the new songs, but you kind of answered that. So I'll jump ahead to you and just quick question is, what gave you the urge to return to writing songs after so many years? What contributed to that itch? Get back in there and start writing.
Well, I've always wanted to write and play, but see, the thing is you need everyone else to be on to do it. And more songwriting would happen when Jeff Garrett was around than when he wasn't. And this thing really started by Jaap from Nuclear Blast in Europe approached us when we played Rock Hard and said, hey, do we want to make a Leatherwolf record? So that's what started it. And I was just going, oh man, now I got to go figure out how to do this and who to do it with, And so that's when we started running into differences of opinion, differences of agree of what we want to do, And so for me, I just been funding the thing, and I got the trademark to just protect the Leatherwolf stuff. And so I just had to make a decision. Either I don't do anything and let other people write stuff, or I just try to find some guys that where we can all work together, you know?
Yeah, and I'm glad you guys did, man. It's a great album, and we'll get talking towards the end, but keep going on this. The new album, the music is pretty straightforward, and the lyric content seems to be kind of within the same within Kill the Hunted. So with all like the madness that's going on in the world today, what does the record deal with as a matter of expression?
I just think it deals more with just realizing how to be a better person and how to confront, emotional illnesses that, that you need to deal with if you actually want to find your happiness. And that was, I talked to Keith about that because he was the main songwriter and storyteller in all the songs, except for a couple that I wrote, and that's what he said. He goes, it's more of a, figure yourself out and just do the right thing, show up and do the right thing.
Yeah, that's a good message. It's a good message, especially what.
Life is weird, dude. It's a trippy little deal, when you go around the world and you see all the things that people do.
Yeah, I've always looked at it as if you can lay your head on your pillow at night with a clear conscience, you've done good. You've done good.
Yeah. Treat people like your brothers. It's just a tricky thing for some people to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially kids.
Yeah, and it's tough. I'm 65, so I grew up in a much simpler time. There was 3 TV channels, no internet, no cell phones. We were outside all day playing. These kids nowadays, it's tough. They've got so much to deal with. There's so much social bullying. There's 800 channels to deal with. I think growing up in a simpler time helped a lot.
Well, my thing is, no matter what, life's going to go on around you. The simpler you can make, the learning curve. Just simplify things. What do you want? What do you need? How do I become a better person? How do I deal with inner realities that aren't true? How do I treat other people how I want to be treated? If you just keep it as simple as possible and just work on it, and you're around some guys that call you on your stuff, and just you talk about why you do good things and bad things, at least you got a better shot.
Absolutely. It's pretty simple. So let's get back to Leatherwolf and being on the border between U.S. power metal and traditional metal. I'd say Leatherwolf maintained its position, even though on this album it became a little heavier. From your perspective, since you've been there, is Leatherwolf back to its past 80s image music-wise?
I mean, it's just different people now. So it's different. It's a different vibe of music, I think, when the original guys were together, I think there was a time that we were really good, but I think, when the World Asylum came back around and this record, I think one of the reasons it sounds heavy and the way it does is because those guys aren't here. It's me and Rob and the singer and the bass player. So it just has a whole different vibe to it. And I don't think it's about trying to get back to anything or trying to repeat something. It's just that, we sat in a garage and this is what we liked. And this is what we did.
Yeah.
It was never it was never about trying to beat something out or be like this. It was just like, some good musicians sitting around, playing from the heart, basically.
Yeah.
Just that simple.
You nailed it. From what I can tell you, you nailed it on this album. It's great.
Well, it's tricky, because there's just so much drama and history with Leatherwolf, with everybody, and man, it was good. The old Leatherwolf stuff was killer. There was a time when we were good, and that day is gone, and now it's just different guys just playing music at a different level, and just enjoy the song. Don't try to turn it into, it's not the old guys, because it isn't. This is it. Either you like it or you don't, so if you don't like it, move on, man. No big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just got the word that I got 10 minutes left on our little Zoom here, and I've got a bunch more questions. So
Okay.
try to nail some of the ones that I want to get. As a founding member of Leatherwolf, how vital is it to you to keep the legacy of Leatherwolf preserved?
Well, I've always, once you lose the integrity to be good and to show up and deliver, then it's time to quit. And there's been a few times, with the old guys playing shows where I just thought, man, these guys just really aren't into being good anymore, But then the show would come along where we would just nail it, playing the old stuff, and it'd be good. Like, okay, we're good. But that's just the thing, is it's always up to the individual. And with me and Rob and Keith and Luke and Wayne, they all want to play well. So far, it's good. And if I thought that me playing the old Leatherwolf songs was embarrassing, then I wouldn't do it anymore.
Right.
As long as I can play the songs that I was part of, and I grew with those guys, and I can deliver a good performance, I'll do it. But I don't want to embarrass, all that work that took for those songs to be what they are.
Sure, absolutely. Well, you built a strong following and a great reputation, understood. So in the long run, Dean, what do you want your fans to take away from your music?
I just want them to like it. And when we come in town, just come and see us play if they like the music. And that is a good question. And I just think people just need to just learn how to be the best they can be and enjoy their lives to the best of their own ability. And if you like music, then support it. And if you don't, then don't.
And music to me is something that takes you away from reality. You go to a concert for 2 hours, you just get lost in the music, just get wrapped up in the music, and you forget about your problems and troubles for a while. And to me, a band that does that, like your band does, and a lot of other bands do, that's the key. If you just forget about the world, get lost in a little bit of fantasy and enjoy.
Well, that's the thing about a song, is it's a story that everyone can identify, and it's usually attached to a reality. So it's usually it's not a way to sign off with something. It's a way to be part of something that you identify with.
Absolutely.
Like Hideaway or Thunder or Kill the Hunted. There's a story in there, and everyone can always identify to the story.
Yeah,
I think they get to experience that publicly in an arena with a bunch of people.
I wish I had more time.
I think that's a gift.
I'd like to ask you what Enslaved was all about, because I love that song. But I only got time for a couple more, so I ask this of every interview I'm in, so you can answer it as quick as you can if you want. Is there any band or artist, past or present, that you would love to have been part of?
Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Montrose, maybe even the Jackson 5.
Really?
Yeah, I think that they had some good writers. There was some definite the Corporation, wrote most of that Michael Jackson or the Jackson 5 stuff. But it's always nice to be this was the first time I was around different writers or different players. It's always nice to be around guys that can really play and play cleanly, that care to play. Just get you wanting to play better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slaving,
Dean Roberts.
Okay, so that's a long story, dude. But that's about being stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I'm coming to hunt you down. I'm coming to hunt you down. I'm coming to take you out. That was my line at the end of the song. And that whole ending melody was Barry Sparks. That whole bass line, dun, 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 dun. That was never part of the song, but Barry wrote that. And me and Robbie were sitting there going, that should be a whole nother song. But I'm just going, it's just got a vibe to it, it's got some feeling to it, And that's what I noticed about this record is there's a lot of feeling to it. There's stuff it's not about playing, there's just a lot of vibe to how it's played,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's great. And so I guess I got time for one more. And I know you and I talked earlier when we were setting up this interview, that unfortunately, the band doesn't have any tour dates planned right now. But how much are you chomping at the bits to get back on the road?
Oh, we're just dying. All of us are dying to get out and play some new. We got new songs, so we can go play new songs on the road. So we're still working it out, and it's going to happen. But it's just it's slower than faster for us right now.
So if there's any promoters out there, give Dean a call.
Call me.
We want to see these
play
guys.
for you.
Absolutely. So the
Hey,
new
so what's
album,
your favorite song on the record?
what's that?
What's your favorite song?
I loved Enslaved. I loved the title track, Kill the Hunted. I did like I wrote them down here too. I loved Hit the Road.
Hit the Dirt or Road Rage?
I loved the diversity because it wasn't as hard, but Only the Wicked I loved too. It was a more of a slower type pace song.
Groovy, a groove thing, yeah.
I kind of waited for it to go, and it never did. It just kind of kept that, and I really liked it. But I think Enslaved, and I think that's the last song on the album.
Yeah.
I loved Enslaved. That song kicked ass, and the title Kill the Hunted is awesome too.
Yeah, I wrote that. I wrote the Kill the Hunted. And see that the storyline about that is it's becoming aware of a part of yourself and being willing to change. It's a symbol to kill, because something needs to die for something to be reborn. But it's not a violent thing. It's just that you just need to address something that's dragging you down, something that you don't want to deal with, something that you have to actually do that has consequences with all your relationships if you want to move on,
Yeah.
So that was an interesting story because I wrote those words, and I want satisfaction. I've come to take what's mine. Heavy metal is the main attraction. Raging bolts of lightning like the sky. It was freaky how that whole thing came around, but it was kind of a blessing that whole time of my life, And
yeah, it's
the
a
opportunity to write a
song.
story,
It's a rocking song, and anybody out there that hasn't heard the album yet, check it out. It is available on Amazon. You can also get it through the Leatherwolf Bandcamp, and it's on all the major digital networks. You can keep up with Dean and the band on their Facebook page. I would assume you guys update that as
every day.
And the album is awesome. It's called Kill the Hunted. It was out late last year, so it's out there.
November 9th.
It'll bring you back to the 80s.
Classic metal.
Good time classic metal. It is. So I think we're running out of time, Dean. So I can't thank you enough for your time. And I wish you and Leatherwolf all the best moving forward. And I'm really hoping to see you guys live and on stage here soon. Really, really soon somewhere.
Well, cool, dude. We hope to see you soon. And so you're in Chicago?
I'm just outside of Chicago, but I just say Chicago because it sounds cooler. But yeah.
Well, what city?
Woodridge, Illinois. It's about 20 miles southwest of Chicago.
Alright. And my wife grew up there.
Been here forever. So, and I've been a metalhead since I was about 14. I was in my buddy's basement one day. We were listening to the Beach Boys, and all of a sudden I got turned on to Black Sabbath, and I never looked back, and I've been a headbanger ever since.
Do you have the record, dude? Do you have the album?
Which one?
Kill the Hunted.
I'm sorry, which one?
The Kill the Hunted record.
I have it on the digital format, yeah.
Oh, well, I can send you one if you want one.
I have it on digital, so, and it's on my iPod, so when I go work out.
Okay, cool, because I was going to send you a CD if you want one.
Yeah, you can send me one too. You know what?
That means you have to send me your address.
I will. I'll give it to you when we're done here.
Okay.
I'll text it to you because I got your number. And if you autograph it for me and send it to me, because as you know, as we talked about behind me, I got all my autographed guitars.
Right on, dude.
Autograph collector. So anything you'd like to say in closing, Dean?
I just appreciate all the fans that are still out there supporting the Wolf, and hopefully we can be in your town playing for you sooner than later.
And I'm going to do what I can on my end. I know a few people I've talked to. I'm going to see if we can get you out here somewhere. If not, I might just hire you for my birthday party. Hey, my mom's having a 100th birthday party in May. I'll bring you out for that. How's that?
We're coming, dude. We're coming, man.
Leatherwolf at my mother's 100th birthday party.
That'd be funny. That's classic.
Kick ass. Anyway, thanks again, Dean. You're an awesome guy.
Well, thank you, Fred.
And I'm going to sign off here and then